Hello my dearest friends, welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. On the day that I'm posting this video, it's my birthday. I'm turning 39 and I've really thought long and hard about what I want to do to commemorate my birthday on my channel, and I got some inspiration from Chandler Ainsley's channel with a video that she did like a week or two ago where she was talking about books that have stood out to her when it comes to the different years in the past decade. And I was like, I'm turning 39 this year, so it's a really good time to talk about books that I've been reading in the past decade, so from 2014 up to 2024, and really favorites or books that really took me by surprise, or books that really kind of ignited my love for a certain kind of subgenre or a certain kind of mood that was at the time very popular. So it's kind of like a rewinded back kind of moment and reawakening the nostalgia for the certain kind of books that I used to love and how my taste has also evolved in the meantime. So I really think that it's a great way to kind of revisit favorite books over the past decade or so. So I've limited myself for this video to talk about 2 or 3 books per specific year, though for some of the years they were just banging years. So I have a couple more, and I have a couple of physical books that I took off of my shelves, not all of them, because there's a lot of books that I didn't want to kind of empty my shelf for. And I'm just gonna go ahead and dive in because there's so many books to talk about. Starting with the year 2014, there were, like, I think 2013, 2014 was the moment when we had the Colleen Hoover era, and the Me Before You by Jojo Moyes that was really popular. Or at least the Jojo Moyes book was not really a romance, because it didn't really end in happily ever after, but that was the moment where really my love for romances really reawakened. So I had a lot of books that I really appreciated in that year. The first one being The Failed Audition by Kristen Becker Ritchie. It used to be called Amour Amour, and it's a circus performer kind of a romance where we've got a heroine who meets a circus performer in Las Vegas. She wants to join their circus company, and he at the start really doesn't believe that she has the talent for it, but then a lot of things happen. It's such a juicy, such an angsty, and such a tension-filled romance. I absolutely ate it up. So this is definitely an all-time favorite romance of mine, by the way. So that one really kind of stood out to me for that year. And another one that really kind of awakened my passion for forbidden romances is Loving Mr. Daniels by Brittany C. Cherry. And this one is a student professor kind of a romance, and there's a lot of goodness to Brittany C. Cherry's books from that period of time, so 2014 up to like 2017, 18. Actually, I've got another couple of books of hers on this list as well, but this is, I believe, also the first one that I read by this author, and I really enjoyed it. And obviously, one of the winners of 2014 that really, I think, is the most beloved kind of a book in the booktube community is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This is a romance that kind of has us feeling all the feels for the tortured hero, with his sad and really impactful backstory, and how the heroine really breaks down his walls and makes him feel loved. And I really love that story as well. So those 3 romances are the ones that stand out to me when it comes to the year of 2014. Now for 2015, I'm going to start off with a Brittany C. Cherry book again. It's The Air He Breathes. This one really kind of ignited my passion for the tortured hero. I really love this book. There is a lot of grief, a lot of grumpiness when it comes to the hero, and again, a heroine who is trying to break down his walls. She has a backstory of her own that really stands its ground. So both the characters really get their spotlight in the book. So I really love that about the book. It was like a true 5-star read for me. And this is the first book, I think, within a 4-book series, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, yeah, give me more. I want more of this. So I really loved this book. Another one from 2015 is a book that I don't really hear a lot of people talking about anymore, but obviously it's from 2015, so that's fair. It's Kaleidoscope Hearts by Claire Contreras. And I have to say that this author has not worked for me for her past releases, like the contemporary releases that she has had for the past couple of years. But like her earlier works, like her backstory works, were ones that I really, really enjoyed. And this one is no different. It had a very original kind of a story to it, with an artist as a main character, with a very kind of specific kind of a special gesture that happens within the book that I really appreciated. So that one is one that definitely stands out for me for that year. And then we've got another Mia Sheridan book, Kyland, with another very emotional and impactful kind of a backstory for both of the characters in this one. I mean, Mia Sheridan and Brittany Cherry are kind of in the same boat for me when it comes to like emotional and very tortured kind of main characters. I really love both of their stories and books. So those are really the highlights for me for 2015 and 2014. And in 2015, the ACOTAR books came out. I didn't read them until 2021, I think, but I do have to mention that that is the year that those books came out, or at least the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. And it's something that I think has impacted the romance world immensely since then. So 2015 has definitely been a very impactful year when it comes to romance books. Moving on to 2016, we've got my first introduction to Mariana Zapata with The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I really love sports romances. And this is an American football romance, and it's an arranged marriage kind of a romance. And it's a book that really kind of awakened my love for grumpy sunshine as a trope. And we've got a hero in this one who is so stoic and so kind of closed off, and a heroine who's got all the sass and is really not taking any crap from him. And I really love that about this book. And like the slow burn that is slow burning within Mariana Zapata books is just to die for. I really love that about her books. So 2016 is a very special year because that's when we have this book come out. And another one that I really, really love is Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I do have to say that if I think about Pen Douglas's books, this is probably my favorite. And I had it signed, by the way, when I met Penelope Douglas at Rare in Florence 2 years ago. And I'm very happy that I have this copy that is a signed copy. It's very special to me. This is an epistolary romance, and it's more towards the young adult, new adult kind of a romance with a bully within it. But I do have to say that the bully kind of aspect within this book is one that I can kind of get behind. I don't know, I don't want to sound too weird when it comes to a bully romance. I don't typically gravitate towards these anymore. But for this one, it just made sense to me, and I really loved the kind of a romance that this is, and the epistolary kind of a aspect to it where they have been pen pals for many years really works for me. I really love this kind of a trope. So this one is a definite memorable kind of a romance for me from that year. And then the last one I'm going to mention for 2016 is Bearded Science by Penny Reid. This is part of the Winston's Brothers series that Penny Reid has written, and I really love the small town aspect, the humor, the banter. Specifically, this one focuses on Cletus, who, if you've read these stories, you know that he's the best character within the series, and I just really loved his book. It's a 5-star read for me through and through, and it really kind of ignited my love for more of a bantery kind of a romance, not only focusing on the emotional and the angst and the longing, but really on very original kind of ideas within books with a lot of humor to them. So this one was a definite hit for me as well. Moving on to 2017, we've got my queen, Kennedy Ryan, coming out with Grip. Grip is a trilogy that I have here on my shelves, but I've got the 3 books in a bundle and they're too heavy for me to lift up. I have to say that Grip is probably, I don't know, I cannot really say which of Kennedy Ryan's books is my favorite, but Grip has definitely left a very big impression on me as a reader. And you know, Grip is a 3-book long kind of a story where we really get to see all of the aspects of the different kinds of stages of a relationship of the main characters within this book. And I just so fell in love with their love story, and I fell in love with the hero, and I completely felt connected to the heroine within this book. And I just love her so much. And I'm so happy that I discovered this author, because all of the other stories that I've read by this author have also worked for me. So Grip is a very special mention when it comes to the discoveries that I've made throughout the years. And yeah, I definitely love that one. And then another discovery for me is a book that I don't mention very often on my channel, because at the time when I read it, I was obsessed with it. But then if I were to read it right now, I'm not sure whether I would be as obsessed as I was back then. It's just that those kinds of stories were really popular back then. And I'm not sure, I think my tastes have evolved in the meantime, but I do have to mention it because at that time I was just completely obsessed with that story. And that is Vicious by L.J. Shen. I really loved most of the books within that series. So Vicious, Ruckus, and I think there were 2 or 3 more. And you know, the bully kind of an aspect was really trending at that time, and really the asshole kind of an alpha hero was what was popular at that time, and I really ate it up. And right now, like I mentioned, like my tastes have evolved, so I'm not sure whether I would love this series as much as I did back then. But that series really did shape my taste at the time, of the kind of books that I was looking for, that were really popular and that really kind of made me want to read more of these. So I did want to mention this one. And then another one from 2017 that embodies the toxicity of the period of time that was really popular is A Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner. This is a very toxic kind of a push and pull kind of a book, where we've got right person at the wrong time happening over and over and over in the book, and really a lot of very bad decisions made by both of the characters, and also a lot of tension and longing, and a lot of, I don't know, just a lot of feelings, emotional kind of impact within that book. And I definitely wanted to mention it because Candy Steiner really left an impression on me with that book. So 2017 was a good year. I have to say that was one of the years that I really got into even more like looking for specific kinds of stories and not just picking up whatever I see at the store. So yeah, those are really special stories. Now, in 2018, K.A. Tucker came out with The Simple Wild. This is an OG favorite of mine. I had it signed by K.A. Tucker when I met her at Rare in Florence, and this is a very special kind of a story for me. I really don't like the entitled kind of a heroine, and it's very difficult for me to connect with this kind of a heroine, but this book just did it perfectly. I really loved the hero. I loved how he made the heroine grow within the book, and how he put up a mirror in front of her and really made her think about her life choices and the way that she's behaving and what she wants out of life. So this is a very special story to me. I really loved it, and I'm so happy that I discovered it at the time. And then another book that was really a hit at that time is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Obviously, this is a taboo age gap book that really made those tropes blow up at that time. I mean, Penn Douglas had a very strong streak of years with first Punk 57, and then the Kill Switch, Hideaway, the Devil's Night, I think, series, and also with this one coming out in 2018. And it's a very special story. Again, something that you wouldn't kind of naturally approve of in real life, but when you read it in a book, it just makes sense somehow. So yeah, I really love the taboo aspect within that book. And another book that came out in 2018 that is an all-time favorite of mine is From Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata. It's another sports romance, but with figure skaters, and it's one that has forced proximity as a trope, and there's caretaking in that book, and there's a lot of banter in that book that I absolutely loved. And just when I think about like an all-time favorite hero. I think of Ivan from that book, and it's just such a special book to me. I really, really loved it. And it just, again, reinforces my love for a slow burn romance. So yeah, these books again are very special and dear to me, and you can see the smile on my face. I'm just loving talking about and gushing about these books. And if you haven't read them, what are you doing? Go ahead and discover all these books. Take a look at Goodreads and their synopsises, because I'm not going into too much detail here, obviously, because there's a lot of books to talk about here, but I'm just basically gushing about favorite books today. It's my birthday, so I just want to treat myself to some good positive emotions. So let's move on to 2019, where I've only mentioned 2 books here because there's just certain years where there were just off the charts so many books that I've loved and discovered and just have to mention. But for 2019, I just have 2. We've got Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The audiobook for that book really made such an impact on me because it's a different kind of a story with narration going back and forth and interviews popping in, and really kind of a production, almost like a movie. And it just made so much sense to me that this is like almost a real life kind of a book, like real life characters coming to life on the page. And I just love that book. So for 2019, I had to mention Daisy Jones and the Six. And also, I have a copy of it somewhere. I just need to pick it up. Red, White, and Royal Blue. While this is not my favorite male romance, I do have to say that this is really the staple kind of a, I think it's trad published, right? I think this book really opened up the door towards us as readers accepting and looking for these kinds of romances, to have a more diverse kind of an experience when it comes to romances and the reading that we pick up. So I really, really enjoyed this book. It really did make me want to include more inclusive and queer romances within my reading in the future. So I've read quite a few more books with that kind of representation, and yeah, I've enjoyed this one as well. Now, moving on to 2020, COVID year, I was a new mom at that time, and I didn't read as much, to be quite fair, because again, new mom. And whenever I did read, I gravitated towards specific kinds of stories that didn't really make me feel too emotional, I think, at that time. So I am going to mention the first book that really hit it big when it comes to this author. I'm talking about Emily Henry. She came out with Beach Read that year, and I really, really enjoyed Beach Read. I do have to say that it's probably within my top 3. I think it's like the third favorite book of mine, of Emily Henry's. It's the start of an era when it comes to Emily Henry. And then I have to mention another start of a series, actually, that started that year, Only When It's Us by Chloe Lees, released. And it's at the start of a very beloved series that focuses on a lot of inclusion, a lot of diversity, a lot of representation for chronic illnesses that I definitely appreciate. And all of these books are like comfort reads for me. So yeah, I really love that I discovered Chloe Lees. I think I didn't read Chloe Lees until like 2022 or 2021, I'm not sure, but I'm just so happy that this author hit it big at a certain point and that this series is so well beloved within the romance community. Moving on to a banger of a year, 2021. I think this is the first year that I actually voted in the Goodreads Choice Awards. We've got Real by Kennedy Ryan, came out in 2021. This is one of my favorites by this author. I mean, every book by this author is a favorite, but this one really is just such an epic kind of a romance. It left such an impression on me. There's so much goodness to it and so many amazing conversations and such detail within this book. I just absolutely love it. So I'm so happy that I got to pick it up at that time. And then another book that I really, really loved is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is another epic kind of a story with a second chance romance. This is one of my all-time favorite tropes. And the heroine is just amazing. The representation is great. The hero is so swoon worthy, and she's a single mom. The relationship between mom and daughter is just so special in this one. There's so much goodness to this book. I absolutely loved it. And 2021 is also the year when we discovered Ali Hazelwood. The Love Hypothesis hit the shelves, and we haven't looked back since then. I mean, the number of books that this author has written in the past 4 years is staggering, and I love how quirky and how fun and how banter-filled and how, I don't know, there's just something. She puts something into her books that makes us all love her all the more. Even if books come out that don't really work for me, I still keep gravitating towards her releases. I always will want to pick up her books when she releases new books. So I'm so happy that I discovered The Love Hypothesis, and consequently also the other stories that I'm going to mention in the other years that she released books. And what else do we have for 2021? We've got Make It Sweet. I have it here, by Kristen Callahan. I had it signed by the author when I met her at Rare. And this one is one that I wanted to mention because it really ignited my love for foodie romances. We've got a hero who loves to cook, and he is a bit of a grump, a bit of a recluse, and the heroine is a sunshiny kind of a character. I absolutely adored this story, so I really wanted to have it on my shelves, and I'm happy that I have it signed by the author. Now, moving on to 2022, which is another banger of a year. I mean, that is the year that I discovered so many of my favorites when it comes to authors and books as well. The first book I'm going to mention is by Ali Hazelwood, Love on the Brain. I loved this book. There is a certain kind of a giddiness that I felt with this book. I just absolutely ate it up. I mean, the heroine is quirky, the hero is absolutely obsessed with his heroine, and there is this kind of a secret communication thing going on in the book that I really, really love. So this one was a definite hit for me. And then another book that came out that I have here somewhere is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is the first book within an interconnected standalone series that I love. Like, all the books within this series are ones that have hit right for me. And this is an age gap romance where the heroine is slightly older than the hero, and there are very kind of relatable, at least for me, kinds of issues when it comes to the relationship between the two. She lives in the city, he lives in a small town, and they have this long distance relationship thing going on. And she comes from a background where she just recently got divorced, and she was gaslighted throughout her whole marriage. And now she meets someone who actually treats her right, and she almost doesn't trust the situation because of what she has been through. There's just such goodness to this book as well, to all of the books within this series, honestly. And I'm just so happy that I discovered them because this was definitely a favorite of mine at that time. And 2022 is also the year when we discovered Anna Huang, or at least I discovered Anna Huang, as well as Elsie Silver. Elsie Silver released Flawless in that year. It's part of the Chestnut Spring series, and both of these authors have just been cracking out new releases all the time since then, and they have just taken the romance world by surprise at that time. They've just been hitting right for all the romance readers. I think all over the world, everyone has been hyping up their books. So I really love that we discovered them in that year. Now, 2022 is also the year when Carissa Broadbent released The Serpent and the Wings of Night, the first part of a duology. This is also the moment when us romance readers started to broaden out our horizons and started to invite the love for romantasy as a genre. In 2023, we had the first time that Goodreads did the romantasy category. So The Serpent and the Wings of Night kind of flawed through. And the second book within the duology, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, was actually nominated for the Goodreads Choice Award in 2023. And in 2023, we obviously had the hype of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Everyone was like over the moon with that book, with the start of this series. Everyone was hyping it up. And the kind of hype that these books received was just out of this world. And I love it for the romance and romantasy genre as well. So moving on to 2023, when it comes to the contemporary books, that year, there were just so many amazing books that I really, really loved. The first one being, let me just find it because I have so many books on here, Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I love this book. There's a second chance romance with a hero who has been hurt by the heroine, and they need to work together. They have this forced proximity because of a job that they need to do together. They're in the wedding industry, and there's just so much goodness to this book. I absolutely ate it up. And then another book that I really loved in 2023, this is when I discovered the Windy City series, and specifically my love for Ryan Shea in The Right Move by Liz Forty really just got ignited. I absolutely love this series. I have the full series on my shelf, and I just don't know which one is my favorite, to be quite honest with you, because I just have so much love for all of these characters. So I'm so happy that we discovered, again, a new to us author in the romance community to love. And then another book that is new to me, specifically from that year, is The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. Again, I have a big love for different kinds of sports romances. This is a hockey romance. This was the time when hockey was the it thing. Really, everyone was reading hockey romances, and I was no different. So I'm really happy that I discovered this series because I love almost all of the books within this series. So that one was a really good one from that year. And then another one that I really loved is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is a romance. I think this was my favorite romance of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. This is a book that has so many amazing aspects to it. I mean, there's so many tropes within this book that just really work for me. And the heroine is amazing. The hero is to die for. He is such a golden retriever. And there is this epistolary aspect to this book that I also eat up every time that I encounter it in romance books. And I just absolutely love this one. And the Emily Henry book that came out in that year is also a favorite of mine, and that is Happy Place. Happy Place, I think, is my all-time favorite Emily Henry book. It features a second chance romance and also a friends to lovers aspect, and also a very big friendship group that really made all the difference for me when it comes to my love for this love story, because the love story is not only impacting the actual hero and heroine, but also everyone else in the book. So this one I absolutely loved as well. So if I have to check out all of the different kinds of books, actually Love theoretically was also on my list, but there's just so many books from 2023 that I can mention that I fell in love with. It was very difficult for me at that year, if I remember it correctly, to vote for my favorite because there were just so many amazing stories. But if my memory serves me right, I think I voted for Yours Truly. That one really was like my favorite at that time. So yeah, a very good year for romance indeed. Now, 2024 was a split year for me because that's when I started to read romantasy more. So a lot of my favorites are not only contemporary, but also romantasies. We've got from the contemporaries, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I love this book. It's such a special kind of a book for me because it features a kind of trope that I hadn't encountered before, where we've got a hero planning out different kinds of dates with the heroine. He is so amazingly thoughtful in this book, and there's such good backstory within this book that I really, really loved, and such development for both of the characters that really stood out to me. So this one was a very special book for me last year. And then another book that I really love is Funny Story by Emily Henry. It didn't leave such a big impact on me as Happy Place, but I still really, really enjoyed it and loved it. So I do understand why a lot of people voted for this book when it comes to their favorite book, but I do have to say that this one was better. And when it comes to the romantasies, I read Phantasma, which was really good. And I also read, at the end of the year, Quicksilver. And I really love this book, and I really cannot wait for book 2 that will come out, I think, next month. There's just so many amazing stories. I also have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker here on my shelf, but it's a chunky book as well, so I don't want to take it out from here. But there's just so many amazing stories that came out last year that I also really, really loved. And when I look back on all of these books from the last 10 years, they've just brought me so much joy, and I've discovered just so many different kinds of factors and facets and different kinds of tropes and different sets of emotions that I really appreciate when it comes to reading books. That it makes me all the more proud that I've discovered this hobby of mine, and that I've created this little space here on the internet to talk about my love for all of these books. And I really love that I get to celebrate my birthday with all of you here, talking about all of these amazing stories. Please let me know if you've loved any of these. What are your favorite? And maybe just let me know which of the 10 years that I've mentioned, so from 2014 to 2024, was like your top favorite romance reading year. If I have to think about mine, I think I'm gonna have to go with 2023. That was the year when, like I mentioned, like all the books were hitting right for me, and I had so many 5-star reads. But I'm very curious about yours. What was your top year in the last decade? Thank you so much for sticking around if you've made it this far. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care, and bye-bye.